Remember all those people who were saying Ghost of Yōtei is a success? You don't understand it. It's only on PlayStation, so that's why you don't know the numbers. It's actually doing really good. And then no one talked about it literally 2 days after its release. And even on the day of release, everyone was mostly making fun of it, except that the three groups of people who were like, a bamboo cutting minigame! And look at this open field filled with literally nothing that kind of looks nice but has no real purpose but to be a time pattern of your gameplay. Yeah. After that, it was silence. No one cared. But they were still adamant Ghost of Yōtei did so good. And now, what everyone with a brain knows has happened. Sucker Punch has declared that there's probably not going to be a DLC for this thing because it's a disaster. Ghost of Tsushima originally had, I think, one DLC, which is actually a big deal. You're probably thinking one DLC is not that much. Well, when you're Sucker Punch Studios and you get a gem like that, you probably didn't expect to make a DLC for it in the slightest. So the fact that it even has one DLC is a pretty big deal. Well, I'm aware of only one DLC. Maybe there's more, but I don't know. Didn't care that much about any DLCs. But Ghost of Yōtei is not going to have any DLCs, even though they want to push the series forward. Because you need to understand, Atsu's story is only beginning. That's right, Atsu. The woman. In any case, yeah, Atsu's story is only beginning. Japan, feudal Japan especially, needs feminism. It needs strong, independent lesbian women who are gonna raise childs, and the story makes no sense. Don't worry about it. Oh, boys, this is gonna be beautiful. This is gonna be beautiful. Because when you are on the track of wokeness, you don't care about becoming a studio that fails because you don't have enough money. that's that's just a small thing. Don't worry about it. So they're gonna continue. There's gonna be a more strong, independent, woke woman. It's gonna be beautiful.
Sony has been silent on Ghost of Yōtei, and that does not bode well for Sucker Punch because when a company's product is doing fantastic, typically they like to boast about it. They like to say, oh my gosh, we've got 5 million sales or 6 million sales, and that isn't happening. And while
Players, not sales. They refuse even to use the word of sales because the word sale is only usable by games like Megabonk and other ones that actually sell good and people like them. For these games, it's players and sometimes seconds played because reasons.
analysts have speculated about the numbers, we're now finding out that apparently any form of DLC for this game will come down to community feedback. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or
You know what I'm hoping for, by the way? That this is a Morbius type of situation with feedback. That people meme, oh my god, I want the DLC only about cutting bamboo and grass. Give her a site and let us plow the fields. Oh, Jesus. I have a feeling that this could be a Morbius situation where people memed Morbius's comeback in the theaters because Disney actually thought that all the Morbius memes means that people want to see it now because they understood how great the movie is, which is hilarious.
YouTube memberships. Now, typically companies have long-term plans for games, and if they plan to update it and release new content and launch DLC, they have that plan in place, but it doesn't seem like that's the case for Ghost of Yōtei, which definitely
They had a plan for this. I can guarantee you they had. Okay? Carving out the smallest plans for DLC is actually a part of gaming. I haven't worked in the games industry, but just from a financial point of view, it makes absolutely zero sense that these companies that now are trying to make the big stuff would not consider DLC opportunities and possibilities and, things like that in the creation of the base game. So they already considered this, But now, considering it's a massive failure, they are pretty much like, well, it seems like it's not gonna be worth it, but if suddenly people start to scream best game ever, then they're gonna do it. That's what this says.
Doesn't look good for them. I think they already had known there was going to be major backlash surrounding this title, and they didn't want to put any more money into it until they knew for a fact that they could make money off of the base game's release. Now, we have
Yes.
heard that its budget was pretty low, comparable to Tsushima, and
Yes. Ghost of Tsushima, a game that came out previously in a studio that was valued less, with less developers, less everything, somehow cost more than this thing. How many times do I need to remind people that all of these talks about budgets being small are lies? Assassin's Creed Shadows, by the mouth, the glorious orifice of Ubisoft's head, Yves Guillemot, he himself literally is on record stating that Assassin's Creed Shadows was 116 million to make. Budget. Imagine that. Of course it's a lie. Of course it's a lie. That Assassin's Creed Shadows most likely in combination total costed 800 million easily to make. These people lie about the budgets of these things because there's absolutely nothing that can be done about this. There is no punishment for lying about the budget, which in my opinion is clearly market manipulation, but what do I know, I guess. And there is no punishment. They can go on record and say that Ghost of Yōtei cost negative five tacos to make, and there would be no repercussions for this.
so it doesn't seem like they would need, 5 million copies to break even or start to make a profit. But at the same time, they do still have internal goals, even if they don't technically need to hit, these very high figures. And they've been silent on sales numbers, which doesn't bode well. When you are facing major backlash, you can, quote, own the CHUDS just by saying, hey, we sold 5 million copies.
God damn, I love being a chud. You know why? Because we never get owned, boys. Oh boy.
Or whatever number it was, but they aren't, which definitely to me screams that there was a problem with the sales. And analysts did speculate on the figures, which we'll get into in a second, but now we're finding out that apparently they don't have plans for DLC, and the only way that there is going to be DLC is if the community wants it, they will consider it. So, starting off with this Push Square article, it says beyond the
Ah, yes, the classic picture of literally nothing. Zero gameplay, nothing. Mwah!
previously confirmed Legends mode, which of course the base Tsushima game got to, it seems that what Ghost of Yōtei developer Sucker Punch will do next is still very up in the air. The studio will soon decide what its next project shall be. We actually just heard a few days ago that they were considering doing a new Sly Cooper game or another Ghost game, which is pretty shocking. And while I really like Sly Cooper and I wouldn't mind a new game, you would think that after Tsushima sold over, 13 million copies, and they expected this to sell millions of copies, that would be their focus for the foreseeable future. Maybe it's because a Sly Cooper game would have a significantly lower budget, and so that means they could make potentially more money off of it, and that could fund the next Ghost game. Maybe they knew that this was going to face major backlash because they replaced Jin Sakai, the developers that are on this project, and just the general direction they took this title. And so maybe they figured months ago, well, we're not going to greenlight the next Ghost game because we're not even sure if this is going to go well. Who knows? But either way, it seems that DLC was never initially on the table for this. It's taking the same approach of listening to the players as it determines whether there'll be an expansion. Certainly, we love Atsu and we think it's a great character, and just like with Jin, if there's room to improve it or to bring some new elements to life or clarity for the narrative's sake, and it falls within what's best for Sucker Punch, then we'll certainly take a hard look at that for sure, which does not scream confidence. It does not scream that this is really what they wanted to do. And yeah, this has not gone over well with people. There are gamers who did buy it and who did like it and who are saying, why was this never your plan? And then there are, of course, people who are memeing on this. I assume DLC was confirmed for the future because this whole area is just completely inaccessible. Can we at least get a
Yeah, that seems about right, honestly. Again, they probably thought about DLCs. Ghost of Yōtei was a success. The DLC, I haven't checked this, but I'm assuming it was a success, right? So there is no reason to assume that they have not done the minimum stuff for Ghost of Yōtei to be a DLC. To be optionable.
new game plus? Yes, we want it. Community speaks, Yōtei listens. Your feedback might just shape the next DLC. Would they consider refunds and then pointing and laughing? Who that has played this game doesn't want it? In other words,
I mean, that's a very, very good sentence, by the way, because there is this situation that happens with some games that are considered trash before release. Ghost of Yōtei is a great example. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Starfield. Well, actually, Starfield is not one of those examples, and even the previous one doesn't fit in. But there are these situations where a game like Ghost of Yōtei is considered so bad, so completely goddamn lost, that the only people who mainly buy it are super fans. So you're actually gonna have the situation where like the Steam review is like 80% or something like that. And it's gonna take a very long time for normal people to buy it and then just to negatively review it because they don't know this conversation's even happening. So there are some situations where games are so bad their Steam score gets saved because no one is buying them in general. So the people who are playing this game are probably actually super stoked about this and very still vocal that it's a masterpiece or something. And that's because no one else even cares to buy it, look at it, or talk about it.
there will be none. 2 words, Jin Sakai, lots of laughing emojis, sure sign of a flop, and they have not confirmed any sort of sales figures. They've been actually extremely silent, which is shocking because you would think for a game that was supposed to be
1.6 million users and giving away free copies in the first day. Oh man, that is not good.
so big, they would really want to be talking about it as much as possible. Though, according to analysts, we do have one sales figure. Now, of course, take this with a grain of salt, but Reese Elliott from Alina Analytics has shared that the game had surpassed 1.6 million units sold to customers, over 2 million units if we consider copies already sold to retailers, but that does not equal sales. This is just slightly slower than its predecessor, Tsushima, which sold 2.4 million units in the first 3 days and became the fastest selling Sony published new IP released for the PlayStation.
Wait. That the game has already surpassed 1 point. In how much time is this? Because that is a third less than Ghost of Tsushima, if we believe these numbers, by the way. And the expectancy was probably a third more than Ghost of Tsushima by that point. And again, for Ghost of Tsushima, it said in the first 3 days. Ghost of Yōtei. Actually, let's do some detective work, boys. When does this article start? October 9th. Okay. Ghost of Yōtei release date. It's October 2nd. Okay, so that would be 7 days. In 7 days, Ghost of Yōtei, the thing that was supposed to sell more than Ghost of Tsushima, has sold 1/3 less copies than that game in less than half the time. To equalize the numbers, so let's do some rough math. 7 days, that was 3 days. Less than that. Ghost of Yōtei is currently underselling roughly 3 times. It has roughly 3 times less sales than Ghost of Tsushima on a technical level. Which is, by the way, most likely close to that what they expect. Again, they probably expect minimum 33% more sales by this point. So this is not good. This is a disaster. If we believe these numbers, the reality of these numbers is a very, very, very bad story.
Customers, over 2 million units if we consider copies already sold to retailers, but that does not equal sales. This is just slightly slower than its predecessor Tsushima, which sold 2.4 million units in the first 3 days and became the fastest selling Sony published new IP released for the PlayStation 4. So the only figure that we had gotten was that Yōtei had allegedly surpassed 1.6 million in just a couple of days according to the analytics firms, but that was never confirmed. We never actually got any details. No other firms backed this figure up either. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure if this is true. Either way, 1.6 million versus 2.4 million is pretty fucking terrible because when you are talking about the start of a new IP, so in Tsushima's case.
Oh, wait, no, I'm an idiot. What did I say? Did I say 30% less sales? This is 50% less sales, actually, than they expected. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said a third. But no, this is 50% less sales than expected.
That should have been the lower figure because there's people who are not confident in it, people who maybe are going to wait to play it because it's a new IP. But with something like Yōtei, you would think that it would be significantly higher because people love the first game. It's an established series now. There should have been more hype. There was way more marketing, but that isn't the case. So that is just not a good look, no matter how you slice the cake here. And things have not gotten more positive for them if you take a look at their social media. Tons of their posts are still getting wrecked. People sharing images of Erika Ishii looking absolutely insane. People saying Ghost of Tsushima is still a great game, so I can just play that when I want to. No need to support your choice of a controversial, radical left-wing activist who supports terrorism. And yeah, I love Tsushima. I will always. Having a bad game in a series will not ruin the other games for me. It's like with the Arkhamverse.
True! That's actually extremely true. Good enough. But that will ruin the future possibilities and prospects for the company because, I mean, no one trusts game developers any longer. If they do one thing, this incorrectly, by the way, which is a unique level of misunderstanding or intentionally, most likely, not understanding their audience. I mean, no one's expecting anything from them now. Even if Sucker Punch just turns the other cheek and tries to actually do good now, whatever they do next is gonna fail because the trust is just gone.
Love the Arkhamverse except for Kill the Justice League, but KTJL is a game that I can easily ignore the existence of, and I will do the same with Yōtei. People were saying that they were excited, but others were saying, no one is going to buy this garbage, I'll just play GOT instead, sharing images of Charlie Kirk, and hey, if you played this game and you loved it, I'm really
The Kirkinator. In any case, that was Very Dark, aka Mommy. 10 out of 10. Bye.